For the longest time, I used to think that dirty bulking was the quickest and easiest way to put on as much size as possible. This led to me going through a phase where I would buy like mass gainer instead of protein powder just to try and put on as much size as possible without any worry in the world about the impacts to my health or how this weight would actually add on, if it was going to be fat or muscle. I would just start to like eat food, like fast food takeaways, like what's advertised on YouTube by a lot of YouTubers, and I just thought that if you could just keep eating as much as possible, then you're just going to put on more muscle. And what happened was, this actually led to me putting on way too much fat. This was back in 2020, 2021. I actually got to a stage where I used to look at photos of my physique and my face was just kind of like puffy a little bit. I wasn't having any sharp features, and it just looked like I was just someone who was actually more fat than actually muscular. You couldn't actually see a lot of the tonality in my muscles because I just had put on way too much weight, and a lot of it was not muscle, it was all fat. So in this video, I'm going to go over some reasons exactly what you can do to actually maximize your muscle growth without putting on fat, and convince you why actually dirty bulking does not really help you. So the biggest issue with this is that dirty bulking is promoted so much online by fitness influencers. And I know sometimes they're joking, but a lot of these challenges you see, like 10,000 calorie a day challenges, or just how to bulk as much as possible, just things like this that they throw in there as content. A lot of this has a profound impact on how people perceive nutrition. People think that therefore you can just get your calories in however you want. You can go to fast food restaurants, you can use things like mass gainer, which are really horrible for your health and actually don't even lead to any muscle growth at all. And then people just start to eat more carbs. They don't actually worry about looking lean, actually building on a nice aesthetic physique. And people just start to put on way too much fat when they buy into this heavy dirty bulking kind of concept. So the reason why dirty bulking doesn't work is because you can only put on a certain amount of muscle at any point in time, and you only need a certain amount of nutrition, of calories and protein, to actually put on the maximum amount of muscle that your body's able to build. So anything above this, you're actually just putting on nothing but fat. It's not even going to be muscle. So this is a sweet spot where if you're aiming to bulk up, you should only be aiming to bulk up between 100 to 200 calories above your maintenance levels. So literally anything above this, if you're going 500 calories above maintenance, 600 calories above maintenance, all of these additional calories, they're just going to be fat. Because your body's literally, it's impossible to convert all of these calories in excess of your maintenance levels into muscle. It just doesn't happen. So this is such an issue because what are you going to have to do once you've put on all the size and you're looking fat and you can't see your muscles anymore and you don't have any variations or tonality? What's going to happen is you're going to have to spend so much time actually cutting this back down again. And when you're cutting, you're not going to be putting on any muscle. What's going to happen is you're going to just be trying to maintain your strength, your muscle. A lot of times it's not going to work because you're going to have to be in a calorie deficit to lose all this fat that you've put on quickly. And what's going to happen is you spend this time building up a little bit of muscle, and then you're just going to spend more time cutting down all the excess fat you have, and your progress is just going to start to dip. You're going to have to be actually losing muscle in order to lose this fat. You're going to have to sacrifice strength. You're going to have to sacrifice your goals in the gym just to look like how you could have looked like if you actually understood lean bulking and this nutritional concept. So a good analogy for this is, think about an athlete. If they show up to their team every single week, they're just going to keep getting better and better. What happens if they show up in excess for 3 months and they train way too much, they burn out, they train 2-3 times a day for 3 months, and then for another 3 months they just lie around, they stop training, they don't worry about nutrition, and they actually take themselves away from the team and the team's game plan? Who do you think is going to be more productive? It's obviously going to be that first player. It's the player who has that consistent incline in their skill level, is consistently putting in the work, doesn't go through these extreme troughs where you've got an extreme high and an extreme low, which is not going to help at all in the long term. So if you're wondering what to do instead, what you should be doing is just lean bulking. This is where you're just eating at 100 to 200 calories above your maintenance levels. What's going to happen now is that all of this additional amount of calories, as long as you're sourcing this nutrition properly from proper whole foods, which we'll get to in a second, if you're sourcing this correctly, all of this excess calories above maintenance, up to 100 to 200 calories, is just going to be muscle. And what's going to happen is you're just going to keep inclining the amount of muscle that you keep building, because you don't have to go through a huge period of 3 months or 4 months where you're just remaining stagnant or actually losing muscle growth just so that you can cut down all this fat that you just spent all this time building in the first place. So it's actually counterintuitive and you're working against yourself if you're bulking and cutting. On the other hand, if you just lean bulk and you consistently stay 100 to 200 calories above maintenance, then you're just going to continually incline, continually keep building muscle. So over a long period of time, over say 3 to 4 years, who do you think is going to have more muscle in the long run? The person who's going like this and the incline's linear, or someone who's got all the highs and then troughs and have to go like this the whole time because they think it's a good idea to put on a ton of fat and then spend months taking it off? You're obviously going to put on more muscle if you just stay consistent and you lean bulk and you don't put on a ton of fat and just put on lean muscle growth. The last point I want to make is I just want to talk about the health implications of dirty bulking. If you're someone who buys into eating fast food all the time, or just thinking that a calorie is a calorie and it doesn't matter about the nutritional value of calories, your health is going to literally deteriorate. The whole purpose of why you actually got into the gym in the first place is not just to build muscle, but it's also to massively boost your health and boost your longevity. So if you're someone who's just concerned about building size and you don't worry about how you're actually getting nutrition and everything, then your body's literally going to deteriorate. Think about your body like a sports car. You wouldn't buy a sports car and then just put 91 fuel, put in the cheapest fuel or diesel in the car, would you? Because literally your body is just going to start breaking down. Or sorry, the car is going to start breaking down. This is the exact same concept with your body. So you need to keep this up and keep thinking this way if you want to actually improve and you actually want to gain muscle in the long run, and you actually want longevity in bodybuilding. So what you should be eating instead, just focus on nutritional whole foods like meat, nuts, vegetables, fruit. If you can do this and make this 80 to 90% of your diet, you're going to be extremely healthy and you're going to put on a ton of muscle from these nutritional ingredients.